One of the biggest mistakes you can make when trying to get and stay in shape is expecting that change will be less hard than you want it to be. And when that's not the case, you end up feeling overwhelmed until you eventually quit. As world-renowned performance expert and best-selling author of Do Hard Things, Stephen Magness puts it, your perseverance and toughness during any journey are largely determined by your expectations going into it. Using survival training and the US Army soldiers as an example to explain this concept in his book, Stephen points out how those who expect the training to be difficult and not a piece of cake perform better than those who think otherwise. In other words, accepting that big, lasting changes never happen as quickly or as smoothly as you hope might suck in the beginning, but it is the right mindset to have if you want to succeed. This is why before coaching anyone, I never sugarcoat things. I always let them know that dropping the dad bod and staying strong and healthy as you move past your 30s and especially your 40s takes consistent work and discipline, and there's really no other way around it. Sure, there are ways to remove a lot of the unnecessary friction that stands in the way, things such as training smart by utilizing routines that are short and still highly effective, taking advantage, of course, of the flexibility and practicality of calisthenics and having a home gym, everything that we've been talking about basically in the last episodes. But no matter how you approach it, committing to a long-term, healthy and balanced lifestyle never becomes easy. Sure, it does become easier, but honestly, it never becomes completely effortless. Just like anything that is truly valuable and rewarding in life, which brings me to my next point. Back in my early 20s, after an accident that left me debilitated for almost 6 years, I got a glimpse of what it's like to endure the struggles that many people face as they age while neglecting their physical health and fitness. Even though I was in my prime years and in great shape right before the accident, I got to see how fast the body can deteriorate after staying in bed for less than 40 days. After keeping my left leg immobile in the hospital, I was shocked to see how my strong and muscular thigh just a few weeks ago shrinked thinner than my knee joint, like no exaggeration here. Anyone who has had a fracture and has worn a cast knows what I'm talking about. I got to see how it is to not be able to do basic things on your own, all the way from going to the bathroom to feeding myself. And during the next years, I got to see how it is to live with chronic pain and being borderline addicted to heavy painkillers just to get through the day. Sure, my accident might be an extreme example, but don't kid yourself, these are all things that are actually happening slowly and silently in the background with each day that goes by once you quit on your fitness after 30, with each pound of fat that you gain, each pound of muscle that you lose, and as you struggle to tie your shoes a little bit more each year until it suddenly hits you when it's often too late to change things. So yes, I do understand and I do relate to the fact that when your life is already demanding and stressful as it is, having the maturity to not drink that extra beer, to not have that extra piece of cake, and to call it a night an hour earlier when you want to wake up and work out the next morning are all things that are not always easy, especially when you're new to this or you're trying to get back to it after a long time and most people around you are heading the opposite direction. It can be a rough and lonely path that requires serious grit. Yet you also have to realize that as hard as it is to live a fit lifestyle, living out of shape eventually leads to a lot harder life. Of course, this is an important mindset shift that doesn't happen easy to people, since it doesn't only have to make sense intellectually, but it also has to hit home emotionally. For some, I find that this eventually sinks in, especially after 40, when changes are more noticeable. For others, like me, that tend to learn lessons the hard way, it makes sense after life slaps you in the face with a serious health scare. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, it never really sinks in until it's too late. Finally, no matter how successful and how mature you might be in all kinds of different areas of your life, fitness is one domain where most men remain immature. Because in the end, what it really boils down to is just growing up and acting like an adult who decides to live more responsibly, not just for you, but also for the people around you that rely on you. It's about eating the things you know you should be eating as a grown-up instead of eating like an unattended 15-year-old kid. And it's about taking life in your own hands, dropping the whining, and realizing that even if you hate it at first, doing just a few pull-ups and push-ups every day is not the worst thing in the world. Rather, just like a lot of other habits you have, it's something that you can figure out and maybe even learn to eventually enjoy. So, although it might not be, again, easy, it's also not that complicated. In the end, labor and discipline give your life a lot more contrast in order for you to experience more freedom, in order for you to experience a deeper sense of fulfillment, and in order for you to be able to be more grateful. 3 of the biggest ingredients of true happiness. Or to paraphrase one of the greatest Greek writers of all time, it is the uphill path that brings perfect joy. And although this path comes with some extra effort, it also comes with a lot better view. That was all for today. If this lifestyle intrigues you, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and also make sure you join our newsletter to stay motivated on a daily basis. If you're interested in our coaching program for busy dads, there's a link below where you can apply, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Again, as usual, if you have any questions, leave them below in the comment section. And until next time, keep on training.